Heaven knows where this went wrong. Telling me to just move on. Holding on to regrets we made. Now it's time to walk away. Oh, you don't know my scars, but ooh, it's not who we are. Oh, you don't know my scars, but ooh, it's not who we are, who we are. Who we are. It's not who we are, who we are, who we are, who we are. It's not who we are. Why don't we start again? At this battered times we went far away from everything. It's all I need, yeah. So tell me lies, fantasize. We don't need to justify. What you need ain't hard to find, but you won't find it there. Oh, you don't know my scars, but ooh, it's not who we are. Oh, you don't know my scars, but ooh, it's not who we are, who we are. Who we are. It's not who we are, who we are, who we are, who we are. It's not who we are, who we are.
So good morning, evening, afternoon, everyone. Thank you for watching DevRelCon Tokyo 2021 interview session. I'm Archie, head organizer of the conference. So in this time, I will introduce our awesome speakers and chat with them about their talk in 15 minutes. So, and today's guest is Benjamin Dunphy at Event Group. Welcome, Ben. Hi, long time no see.
Hey, Atsushi, nice to meet you, or nice to see you again, sorry.
Yeah, so I checked our conference website. You were one of the speakers at the DevRelCon Tokyo 2018. So it's 3 years ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was
yeah.
my first international conference that I spoke at, and what a city to do it in. Gotta love Tokyo.
So we got a very good, very enjoy the time after the conference. Go to the restaurant at Tokyo Station, and we talk each other's and it's drink the beer or something. So I remember.
Yeah, we did the karaoke,
Mhm.
and then I think we met up the day after as well. I
Mhm.
had drank this beer in San Francisco that I was just in love with. It was I forget the name now. But I saw that they had like a little lab brewery nearby where the conference speaker hotel was, and so yeah, you and I met up there, and we chatted over that beer for a bit.
Yeah, it's a very good memory for me. So, and at first, could you please introduce yourself, Benjamin? You can talk anything about your favorite technologies, program language, framework, like hobby, books, movies, anything about you.
Sure. Yeah, so I was a web developer for a while, but I moved into event production. I kind of fell in love with events, running the Real World React meetup in San Francisco, and now the React.js SF Bay Area meetup as well. And that led into organizing conferences as well. So I organized the Reactathon conference, which is the San Francisco React conference. And then I helped Netlify build their Jamstack Conf brand and help them organize the first 4 events, the first only 4 events that were in person so far. And these days I'm working on Event Loop. I founded that last year when Reactathon had to be canceled last minute, and I looked around for remote event platforms, and it was either let all of our attendees and sponsors down or build my own. So I decided to build my own, and I'm really excited to talk a little bit about the problems and the solutions that we've identified and what we're going to bring to the market with Event Loop.
I see. I checked your website, Event Loop. So you provide to the online conference platform on the website, on the web, right?
Yeah. And well, conferences, yes, but with a twist. So the idea behind Event Loop is that, okay, there's lots of problems with remote events, right? We all recognize them. Number one, they're really, really hard to set up and really hard to organize. They're like deceptively difficult because the technology is so fragmented. And you do have a few platforms that can, give you a lot of tools to make things a lot easier. But a lot of them are limited and really don't approach online events in the correct way. I shouldn't say correct way, just a way that is conducive to the medium that we're actually meeting over, which is the internet, which is us sitting at a computer, right? You and I are not in person. We're not sharing that lovely beer that we did back in 2018. We don't have the same levels of oxytocin and serotonin that we would get in person. So we really need to rethink how we actually meet online with events. And so the reason why I'm a little hesitant to call them conferences is because conferences, the way they are structured in the real world, are a function of economics and physics, right? We have to secure the funds from sponsors and the attendees to secure a venue and get catering and get all the rentals and all of this stuff, right? And we have to do it over the span of a certain number of days because of these economic and physical limitations, right? People are flying and it makes sense. But to take that format and bring it online one-to-one, it may have made sense when conference organizers were looking for a way to take their events that they canceled online to satisfy everyone's expectations. It may have made sense at that point, but I think we've all come to realize that no one wants to sit in front of a computer for a number of days on end, and to have these expectations of our attendees to click into every single sponsor booth when it's sponsored time, when expo time, it's just completely unrealistic and things like that. So there's a lot of problems with remote events. I think we all know them. And with this talk that I'll be giving, I'll be talking a lot about those problems and covering some of the bigger themes.
I see. I 100% agree about we have to care about food, drinks, and hotels or something. So it's too much for me. Yeah. So and I want to know about your. I read your profile, and you were professional event organizers, I think. So you already hold on the React Jamstack Conf and Real World React, and I don't know what is lifted plate.
Oh, so lifted plate, yeah. So funny story. So catering, as you know, is really expensive. It's one of the biggest expenses, if not the biggest expense at an event. And I am fortunate to have a better half who is connected with a family who are just amazing cooks. They've been cooking for the better part of over a decade, running their own business. It's not a catering business, but it's catering adjacent. And so as my events career started to kick off, we decided together to start our own catering company. So it's me and 5 other individuals. We're all partners in the catering company. I'm more of the sales and marketing end of it. I basically just talk about it, and then I, of course, hire them for my events when I can, and then connect them to people who find out about them through me, or I help them out when necessary. But yeah, Lifted Plate is a events and catering company. Yeah.
Oh, really? You built it? Unbelievable. So,
well, like I said, I'm not involved in like the day-to-day operations. I basically hire them I hire us, which is them, to do all the cooking and serving.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's great.
Yeah,
So,
I was really fortunate in that regard.
Oh, yeah, I know. So we will move into the next topic about your talk. So your talk title is a new philosophy for remote events. It's a very interesting topic for me because it's a virtual conference, and you are professional event organizers, and you have great experiences about how to hold in the event in person or virtual. So could you talking about abstract your talk, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So the talk is titled a new philosophy for remote events. And the idea behind this is that, look, if we learned one thing about remote events over the last year, it's that we have a long way to go before there's something that we actually want to attend. And I think this has a lot to do with how today's remote events are just simply formatted. Some platforms, as I mentioned previously, are just trying to replicate the in-person experience one-to-one. But other platforms, it's like they're barely trying, right? So, of course, the custom solutions is one way to go, and it's going to give you an amazing event. But these are extremely difficult to set up and just, of course, time-consuming and incredibly expensive. So how do we fix this? Well, we know that there are countless problems and issues with remote events that can be fixed and optimized. But I think the main themes are as follows. Number one, it's understanding your users. So remote attendees, for example, have a vastly different user story than the in-person attendee. And in order to optimize any product, you need to understand your users more intimately, their motives, goals, limitations, and more. So we'll be exploring that. We'll also be exploring how to optimize your sponsorships, because as I mentioned previously, when you present your attendees with just a wall of logos and you're expecting them to click into each of those to go into the sponsorship booth, and then once they get there, they're in the middle of a conversation or a presentation, it's just setting unrealistic expectations of engagement. Like you're putting the onus on the attendee to engage with all these sponsors. You need to approach that a little bit differently. And we have a really good solution with EventLoop that I'll be diving into and providing demos of during this talk. And then lastly, the main big theme is to optimize for the medium. With online events, there's absolutely no excuse for everything to be conducted over email in terms of the organization, especially when it comes to speaker bios and content and sponsor information and content. So if our event can be empowered by programmatic efficiency, then it should be. And if you can provide value to your attendees and sponsors beyond that island of an event, then you should. And we're going to explore through this talk how we do that through EventLoop.
I see. So I have a lot of questions about our virtual conference, but I'll focus on the few questions in this time. So what is the difference? What is the biggest difference in between in-person conference or virtual conference?
Well, that's a huge question that we'd have to unpack, and we could talk for hours about that. But I'll focus on one example. How about sponsorships, right? Now, you're also a conference organizer, so you know that when you're talking with sponsors, you're selling them certain levels of sponsorship, and the more they pay for, the more they get. And generally speaking, most conference organizers will not sell content to sponsors, except for the top ones, right? You might you might sell a lightning talk for the very top ones, because if everything was sponsored, no one would come, right? It's just a pay to play. No one wants to do that. And so what you end up doing is you end up having the sponsors be more of a respite from the talks. And it's a place for them to go to engage, right? There is built-in engagement at an in-person conference. But online, where is that? How do you get that? You have some platforms that that have tried to solve for this. Like I mentioned, the problem of the wall of logos. Okay, that's one way of doing it. You have a wall of logos in the expo route, and you click on the expo route, you see the logos, but then you have to go into every single one. And it's set at a specific time. Of course, it's up to the organizer and the sponsor to schedule this and come up with their own solution for this. But the fact of the matter remains, it's going to be separate, and it's going to put an unnecessary burden on the attendee. And that leaves the sponsor disappointed because they're not getting engagement and they're not getting a number of attendees into their booth. And then it leaves the attendee also disappointed because now they have to spend all this time and energy clicking around and visiting all these different booths. And it's just time wasted. And I honestly have not seen many productive conversations come out of that. And I've spoken with a lot of companies who sponsored events on platforms like this where they're not very happy. They're just not happy at all. So the way we think about it with Event Loop is because you don't have this respite from the talks. You don't have like this dedicated area where you can get very creative with your sponsor booths, where you can make them engaging. You know, you go to GitHub, what is it called? Satellite or the other one, their main flagship. I forget the name. Oh, it's been so long. I'm already forgetting conference names.
I know.
You know, they have that AutoCAD builder where you can like build your own AutoCAD. Like there's always a line for that. Like it's just something that's fun, just a respite from all the main content that you're getting. But then the level of engagement you can get. And so what I'm looking to do and what we're doing with Event Loop is flipping that on its head. Okay, how about since online is completely different, since the medium is completely different, and your user is completely distracted, they have Slack open, they have GitHub open, they're closing issues, they're reviewing code, you know, they're on Twitter, they're browsing Twitter, they have 20,000 other tabs open. Like you cannot expect your attendee to have the full attention, especially when it comes to the talks. Like how many people are actually going to sit through the talk entirely? Maybe one or two, probably not all of them. But then outside of that, what are they going to do? So you need to provide some sort of ecosystem for them to explore and be engaged with. Now that's engaged with attendees, companies, communities at this event, and maybe outside that event. Because what we're doing with Event Loop is it goes beyond an island of an individual event, and it's more of an ecosystem. And we'll get into that a lot. And then obviously I've been a little cryptic about the sponsorship solution that we have. I'm saving that for the talk because it'll also make a lot more sense when I provide a live demo with it.
I see. Okay. So I want to ask a more simple last question. How about VR for conference?
But what?
Some VR 3D glasses, like headsets mount display.
Oh, VR.
Like, VR. Yeah, sorry. My pronunciation.
Virtual reality, yeah.
How about that? Like some conference provide to the VR conference.
Sure.
So how about that?
Yeah. So I think we'll get there eventually. I think it's just a matter of generational acceptance, to be honest. Me personally, I don't like it. I prefer the in-person experience. That's why I've dedicated my career and life to in-person events and event production, much to my chagrin over the past year. But I've been having fun building a remote events platform. No, it's nothing will replicate in-person events, period. Anyone who tells you that their event platform or their VR or whatever can, it's just going to be bullshit. Like, you just have to just shut them off entirely at that point, because they're different mediums no matter what you do. And me personally, we've strayed away from the whole gamification of you get an avatar and you're walking through the environment, because to me, as a utilitarian, as a web developer, as an engineer, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why should I physically have to walk from one location to the next online when I just do one click or maybe two clicks at most, right? That's no, like, to me, that doesn't make sense. Maybe as like a novelty item, as part of the event for people who would be more interested in something like that, to like gamify it in that manner. And I've seen some creative ways of doing this. I think Topia was one. But for like to orchestrate your entire conference around that, where you're like literally walking an avatar and going and sitting down, I could be proven wrong years down the road. But number one, I don't think the technology's there. Number two, I don't think it matches up with the use case and the requirements of the attendees and all the other stakeholders of the event. And then three, again, when I talked about the user being distracted and having other things to do, how many people are actually going to sit there and put on a headset? You know, I think VR has some certain use cases, and potentially it has use cases for events. But for the near term, I'm not very bullish on it.
Cool. I see. Okay. So our interview time is over right now. So in this time, I have a question a lot of right now, but I will ask you about that in the conference day.
Absolutely. Yeah, I look forward to it.
Okay. Thank you, Ben. You have a great career of event organizers, and I strongly recommend every advocates or evangelist who hold on the event will listen your talk and get the experiences about from your talk.
Yeah, would love to. I'm very much looking forward to that. Very much looking forward to the event, and looking forward to getting any feedback that we can. So thanks so much for having me.
Okay, and I hope you will also enjoy the conference with us.
Oh, I look forward to it. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Thank you again. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So today's interview is done. I will announce again our conference, DevRelCon Tokyo 2021, will be held on the June 5th. Everyone save the date and waiting the day. Okay, everyone, see you next interview.